Thank you, Madam Chair. First, Mr. Secretary-designate, I want to thank you for coming to Maine last week, for visiting Acadia National Park, which is a beautiful place any time of year, for discussing with me the future of the Katahdin Woods Monument, for the commitment that you made to work with us on solidifying that, the future of that monument and the budgetary, the funds that are in the budget. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. You know, I really want to make sure that we move promptly, get that plan in place. And if I was, you know, Acadia is fantastic. And I really enjoyed the opportunity there. Maybe we'll come up this summer and go to Katahdin, because I think everybody should. And we ought to be getting there as quickly as we can.
I hope you will. And as I understand it, if we get that management plan done, we've got a,
You're rock solid. You're rock solid today. The Park Service is there. You're part of the Park Service.
Thank you. And I would suggest, well, my next question is, and I think you said this, but I want to just nail it down on the record. You and the administration are going to help us and support us and push on the Restore Our Parks Act. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And I do have a suggestion that I've made this before in this committee, that we fund the Restore Our Parks Act alphabetically.
By state or by park?
No, by park. Acadia. You know, sorry about Zion, Madam Chair, but anyway. More serious question about offshore drilling. As you know, the former secretary created quite a stir a little over a year ago, talking about all the coasts are going to be open to offshore drilling. There was some dispute about Florida. Here's my concern. NOAA is moving some regulatory changes that it appear, they're talking about streamlining, we don't really know what they're going to say, but it appears it could limit states' abilities to affect these decisions through the Coastal Zone Management Act. BOEM is part of that process. Can you comment on your view of the state's role through the Coastal Zone Management, or just generally in this process?
Well, I can't, I'd be happy to look at it and get back to you on the NOAA issue, because I'm just not familiar with that. I'm sorry. I can comment on our planning process. And our planning process involves extensive input from the states. It is, as a matter of fact, it has special notification provisions for when we talk to states. And I can assure you that you know, we listen to states. And so we'll have a lot of dialogue with them.
Well, in the case of our state of Maine, I can tell you we've got a governor, a legislature, and a bipartisan congressional delegation that is, as you use your term, rock solid against offshore drilling or testing. Here's the dilemma I have. We're talking about your confirmation. Your vote may come up in the next several weeks. If a member of the New England delegation votes for your confirmation and then you move for offshore drilling, I don't know if I can go home again.
I completely appreciate that. You know, the dynamic I have here is the President issued a very clear executive order. And that order says do a review, and then it says give full consideration to including lease sales on an annual basis in each planning area. So, you know, we're at the very beginning of our process. We went out with a draft. We need to go out with a new proposal. And
I'm worried about the timing. This all started a year ago, and we were told there'd be a draft last fall, and we still haven't seen it.
Well, I'd be very clear with you and say that I don't know what the timing is, because it's not done to a point where they've wanted to bring it to me yet. So I don't have it yet, but I don't think it's going to happen immediately, and I'm happy to work with people to figure that out.
Do you think the position of the states, as expressed through their elected leadership, will be a significant consideration?
Well, there's three factors that we have to look at under the law, and that is one big one. The entire planning process is supposed to do this: start out big and winnow down to an area that we have for our 5-year plan. And so we're at like step 1, not step 7. And so we just have to work through that process.
Can I get your personal assurance here today that the position of the state, its congressional delegation, will be a major consideration in making this decision?
Absolutely, it's required.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.